welcome back to the third episode of Dark Souls Remastered. In the last episode, we have just killed the Bell Gargoyles and rung the first Bell of Awakening. And in this one, we should be traveling down to the second Bell of Awakening, somewhere in a place called Blighttown. But before we do that, there are a few things that we need to take care of. First of which being getting down this church. Where we meet a very interesting looking guy.
Greetings. I am Oswald of Karim, the partner. Thou art a friend. For thee, a warm welcome. Cometh thou to confess, or to accuse? For indeed all sin is my domain.
So he's a slight vendor. You can buy a few things from him. I think I'm gonna buy one of these. It's a purging stone. An ash-colored stone encasing a skull. Secret treasure of Arster, the Earl of Karim. Reduces curse buildup and breaks the curse. Humans are helpless against curses, and can only redirect their influence. The purging stone does not dispel curses, but receives them as a surrogate. The stone itself was once a person or some other being. Not a lot of explanation needed. Basically, when you are cursed in this game, there are status ailments like poison and curse. When you are cursed, in order to lift that, it obviously has some penalties for doing so. For being cursed, that is. But, yeah, when you try and cure yourself, it doesn't necessarily cure it, it more just redirects it to the stone. That's like thematic. It's quite cool. And it's part of Karim, which he is from there as well. He doesn't sell stuff that I really care about too much. He sells more rings from Karim. Blood Bite and Poison Bite. Also this Ring of Sacrifice, which is quite interesting. This mystical ring was created in a sacrificial rite of Velka, the goddess of sin. Its wearer will lose nothing upon death, but the ring itself breaks.
Thou art welcome any time. It is only human to commit a sin.
Ah, that laugh. That's so iconic. Though I will admit he is pretty creepy. Definitely creepy. I think when I was younger, I think I accidentally killed him. I didn't believe that he was a friendly face. And you do have to be careful of that, because there are characters who aren't what they say they are. And you do have to be careful with that. And I suppose if you're able to read people quite well, you'd be able to catch it, but I think most people would fall for the traps in this game by like the other characters and things. Alright, let me just see, it's a +2 weapon. Do I have any Titanite shards? Alright, I'm just gonna take a step down to the blacksmith, just to upgrade my weapon. Or better yet, to grab the things that make me able to upgrade weapons on my own. Like through bonfires and things, so I don't have to keep coming back to him. I just have a lot of money that I can throw, but maybe not actually. Gonna see how many levels I can do. Not much. I'll do that. So I guess I won't be doing anything with the blacksmith. So yeah, at this point I think a lot of players would get stuck. They wouldn't really know where they need to be heading. Which I think is the beauty of open world games such as this. And it's not exactly open world, it's just that it's seamless. Like the levels, going through levels and things, it's seamless. But it's not necessarily open world because there aren't that many areas to explore. Outside of like the main plot, that is. However, this area, it's probably one of the more iconic scenes in the game, and you're gonna see why in just a second. So we're going down from the church, and quite a long way down. And you get this beautiful shot. But maybe you haven't made the connection yet, but as you step outside, we're back at the shrine, at Firelink Shrine. All the way back down here. Isn't that just phenomenal? Look, we've gone... It's just take in the interconnectivity of this game, and this is just one of the amazing shortcuts that are across the world of Dark Souls. So, you know, in the first part, we arrived at Firelink Shrine. Second part, we've gone through the Undead Burg, fought several bosses, and then we went up to the Undead Parish. You know, we encountered the Drake, you know, the dragon on the way, met all these people, and as we climbed higher and higher up to the church, you know, we fought another boss, rung the bell, you know, we met the blacksmith and all these things. And then eventually we take just a normal looking elevator, you know, it's nothing significant, doesn't look that important. And it brings you all the way down here. And it's beautiful going all the way up and then taking a shortcut elevator straight back down. I think this is where most players sort of fall in love with the game, where it sort of clicks into their minds. It definitely did for me. And lots of people talk about this when you watch videos of analysis videos of people who have played the games and loved it and talk about it and things. Most of them do mention this moment and how amazing it is. It's really quite something. Alright, apologies for that.
Why, what a surprise. I didn't expect you to make it. Oh, somebody rang the bell. Wait, was it you? You never give up, do you? I don't know how you do it. Well, don't stop now. Only one more. But it's going to be suicide.
Well, it doesn't seem like he has much confidence in our abilities. And here's the prisoner that we've rescued.
Ah, hello there. I have your reward. Please, accept it. I am grateful to you for freeing me. Not enough for you? Well, let's not be greedy now. By the Lords, your face. Your humanity is really slipping, but there are methods. Most fools have more humanity than they know what to do with. Now, who do you imagine will make the best use of it? You again. What is it? Our futures are murky. Let's not be too friendly now.
Yeah. Over here we're able to reinforce our Estus flask using the Firekeeper soul that we picked up at the church in the last episode. And we should definitely do that. Upgrade our Estus. And now, most players here aren't really sure where they should be heading. But 1 second, I just have a few more things I need to take care of. I do want to speak to this guy here.
Oh my, you again. Oh, I know. How about this? I have to await my companions here anyway. So what if I were to teach you some miracles? Would that please you? Very well. Then first, a covenant with the gods. Now let me share my miracles. Only their ultimate effectiveness will be determined by your efforts and your faith.
Alright, so he sells a myriad of different spells. We have Great Heal Excerpt. Great Heal Excerpt borrows from only several verses of Great Heal. As a result, it can only be cast to start a few times. Homeward would normally link to one's homeland, only the curse of the undead has distorted its power, redirecting casters to a bonfire, or perhaps for undead, this serves as home. Creates a shockwave. This quickly acting miracle inflicts no damage, but propels foes back and defends against arrows. Cleric Knights use this miracle when charging into enemy mobs. To cast a miracle, the caster learns a tale of the gods and says a prayer to be blessed by its revelations. Heal is the shortest of such miraculous tales. He doesn't really have that great miracles. Force might be a nice one if I'm able to get it, but I will need a talisman to cast it. So we have here a normal looking talisman, medium for casting miracles of the gods, standard talisman issued to common believers. This talisman is only granted to high-ranking Thoroland clerics, has high miracle adjustment, which, thanks to divine protection, is not dependent upon faith. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. So this guy is from Thoroland. So this would be his talisman, and it's only granted to high-ranking Thoroland clerics, which he is. But an interesting quirk about it is that it isn't dependent upon faith. And this has a lot of connotations to it, with religion and people in power and things of that nature. It's quite deep, but the fact that he has both talismans, you know, one that's issued to common believers, you know, that is dependent on faith, and then the one that's issued to high-ranking Thoroland clerics, which isn't dependent on faith. So it goes to show that as they gain more power, they sort of care less and less about the actual belief in their god. And at that point, they probably don't even believe in them to begin with. It's just exploiting the people below them. The sheep, as you will. And it sort of ties back into his character. Obviously, we know practically nothing about him yet, but I think it's useful to keep in mind. So later on, you understand his motivations and the things he ends up doing.
Come again. The effectiveness of the teachings depend upon your faith.
So I'm gonna see if I'm able to buy that force. No, I don't have enough souls for it. So I'll be back for him later. But yeah, so here the next area we need to go to progress, if we read our keys very closely, we'll notice we have a basement key. Opens door leading to Lower Undead Burg. And I've read this before. But yeah, that's where we need to be going. And the quickest way is back up these steps. So I'm just gonna run through this real quick, because we've already been here. Also, I've neglected to pick up this item here in the second episode because I thought it was too There we go, Ring of Sacrifice. I thought it was too... it was a bit too much. Don't know how to explain it. Alright, so we're dicing through these enemies quite easily. After we've upgraded our weapons and killed some bosses. We're quite tough now. So we're going back into this aqueduct. And we're in the Undead Burg, and we want to go into the Lower Undead Burg. So we need to find the locked door. Of which there are a few. Here's where we met the dragon. Alright. So from here, let me just rest here for a second. Catch our breath. And I'm actually gonna convert to human. Just because I like how it looks better. And we need to take this ladder up. So it's really nice that we opened the shortcut, because now we're using it twice. We go up to this big bridge with a very familiar face. And thankfully we're able to outrun him into this door, which I don't know if you guys remember, but on the key it does tell you. It says, opens the narrow passage leading below at the far face of the Great Bridge in the Undead Burg. So it's fairly descriptive, and I mentioned it in the previous episode that it's not too common that you have keys telling you exactly the purpose of it. But I understand that the developers probably thought that this would be quite hard for a beginner to find. You know, they have to like retrace their steps and things, which is quite a lot for you to expect of a new player. But here we are in the Lower Undead Burg. I'm just gonna take these steps up to open this shortcut. It's not too big of a shortcut, but it wraps around here. I'm just gonna show you. It wraps back here. So really quite nice. Little cutesy shortcut. So at least now we don't have to take the ladder up to the dragon. So we could just go down these stairs. Try not to bug on these stairs. Alright. So all this is new from now on. We have some dogs, which you make short work of. So the lore behind this area is that it's the lower income of the Undead Burg. The Undead Burg itself is pretty low income and very poor. But the Lower Undead Burg is even worse than that. It's basically the place where thieves and criminals are banished to. They're sort of forced to live here in this like really bad community. And we can see some bad things happening. You know, this is human behavior. This is not natural catastrophes. That is the thing with Hidetaka Miyazaki, the developer. He wanted to design the game to be based on two evils. You have the human-made evils and the natural evils. This is more a theme in Demon Souls, but it is carried over to Dark Souls a little bit. And this area specifically is more about the human aspect of disasters. Yeah, so we see this, and there's other themes of depravity that we will see very soon.
Somebody! Please let me out of here. Somebody! Anybody! Help me! Unlock the door! Damn, I'm finished. How did this ever happen? Brilliant. You opened the door for me. Thank you. I'm saved. I thought I might never escape. I am Griggs of Vinheim, a sorcerer of the school. I am much obliged for your assistance. Thanks to you, I may now resume my travels. Oh, hello. I'm fine. I will rest a while, then return to Firelink Shrine. I have my sorcery. And I will be more cautious next time. Besides, I have an important task at hand.
So we saved the man. Time to feel good about myself. So these are the thieves that we fought. Let me just read the sorcerer outfit that we picked up. Alright, so hats worn by proper sorcerers who studied at Vinheim Dragon School. The majority take pride in having studied at the academy and look down on breaking the formal dress code established for sorcerers. So they usually keep on wearing the same things. This is the gargoyle helm we picked up after killing the boss. Helm of the Gargoyle, an enchanted creature that guarded the Bell of Awakening in the belfry of the Undead Church. This bronze helm was for mere appearance's sake, as gargoyle skin is naturally hard. Little in the way of defense can be expected from it. And we picked up a sword. Standard small thrusting sword, unsharpened but pointed solid shaft, can pierce tough armor. Can be thrust using the weight of one's body, and is very effective for critical attacks. Not really my style of weapon, to be honest. We're descending even further down. More bandits. This can be really quite tough for beginners, as it's a group fight with not so easy enemies. One of the few times in the game where you sort of get hit by a lot of things. It doesn't happen too often. But yeah, it's a tough fight. You can definitely see they don't play fair, these enemies. They're not like the soldiers and the guards upstairs. These guys are more bold with their tactics. But they go down all the same. Here we have the thief set. Mask of the sinners. They hide their faces, stifle their voices, and hide in the shadows. It does not provide much in the way of defense, so it's more of a masking tool instead of a defense. This armor made of smooth black leather is extremely quiet, a good thing for those who hide in the shadows. The leather itself is thick, offering a decent level of protection. Interesting. We also picked up a shield. Target shield. Small round metal shield. 4 protrusions used to parry attacks. Small shields are always less stable, but landing critical hits after parry is easier. This shield is specialized for parrying. So not really a blocking shield, more of a counter attack. I'm just skipping that fog wall for now because I wanna go through this area.
You still have your senses about you. Then why won't you buy some of my moss? I need your souls.
Oh, I think she's creepy as hell, so I'm gonna buy something off her. So we have these 3 different colored moss. It's like plants. And they do different things, so let me read them. Medicinal red moss clump reduces bleeding buildup. Bleeding builds up when attacked by sharp blades or spikes. And once triggered, causes severe damage. Use this moss clump before it reaches this point. Medicinal purple moss clump reduces poison buildup and cures poison. Poison builds up in the body, and when it breaks out, it causes gradual damage over a period of time. Poison can be exacerbating, so be certain to carry the needed quantity of these moss clumps when destined for an afflicted area. Seeing as we're going into a place called Blighttown, I think it'd be smart to stack up a little bit with clumps of moss. Blooming purple moss clump, potently medicinal moss clump with a flower, reduces poison and toxin, restores status. Toxin is a more vicious form of poison, which quickly leads to death. Moss clumps without a flower are useless against toxin, and a lack of these moss clumps could lead to an early demise. So, if you get afflicted with toxin and don't have this, it's pretty much a death sentence, so at least having 1 is nice. I'll get 2, just because I can afford it. And let's speak to her.
This is a wonderful place, don't you think? We have water, moss, moisture, these nice iron bars. I like it here, I really do. Nothing good ever happened to me in life, but now that I'm undead, I've never been happier. Come again, if you please.
Most people in Larger aren't really the most sane, but who can blame them, I say. And would you look at that, we're back in Firelink. So far we've seen how many connections back into Firelink. You know, you have access to the Undead Burg, the Lower Undead Burg, the Undead Parish, and a few other places as well. It's really quite a lot. I'm actually gonna go ahead and rest at the bonfire. Just because I prefer coming back to Firelink as opposed to in the middle of the Burg. And also it saves me having to go through the Lower Undead Burg if I unfortunately die. I suppose this gives us an opportunity to talk to him.
Oh, hello. I regret meeting you under such compromising circumstances. At least we both made it back unscathed.
Yeah. So he, as he said, you know, he's on his mission, but he hasn't told us what it is. And it's interesting he uses the word compromising, you know, meeting under compromising circumstances. It sort of hints towards his character and his motivations and where he comes from and what he's doing. You really only notice this sort of things after playing the game already once before. Or if you pay attention to this kind of things, which I do. And I quite enjoy it, honestly. I suppose I could cut off these parts of the playthrough, but I like the authentic, no edits, no cuts. And so I'm gonna keep it this way. Very comedically dropping his head. Alright. Now we're gonna go and traverse the fog. And see what's behind it. Alright. Let's see what we have. Alluring skulls. That might be nice. Alright. This will be quite quick, I imagine. Really quite a dangerous fight, especially at the start. It could get overwhelming really fast. But we've made it. We're doing really little damage, which is really not ideal. But thankfully, yeah, it's not too bad of a fight. It's a really creepy goat-looking demon, which one of the vendors actually did talk about. He said a horrible-looking goat demon has moved in below. Obviously, he meant this thing. Really interestingly, most of the burg has been invaded by demons, which, as of right now, we have no idea where they're coming from. But it's clear that they've taken a liking to the burg and humans in general. No doubt for their souls. Music is reaching a climax, quite fittingly, as the fight is coming to an end. And we receive a key to the depths. Let's have a read of it. Key opening the door from the Lower Undead Burg to the depths. Those banished from the Undead Burg eke out their existence in the depths. A damp lair with no trace of sunlight, nearly half of the depths, form a perilous flooded labyrinth. So, interesting they use the word depths, but it's more of a sewer, I would say. Yeah, you just notice how the deeper down we go, the more depraved and the more putrid, vile, disgusting the environments become, and the people that occupy it. Residents, I should say. They're not exactly people. And this is the door. It goes down. And this is where the game sort of takes on a more creepy tone. There's definitely some horror elements to it. So you can imagine all these people, once people, were criminals, or at least really dangerous people. And we see quite a gruesome sight. Let me go up and get a better look at it. Oh, the dog wants to keep me company. Here we are. So we're not really sure what exactly that butcher is butchering. It's quite an eerie sight, all I'm gonna say. The red eyes, the cloth over the head. It's not something you really want to be in a situation in real life. You can imagine. And there are things cooking in that pot too. Suspicious too, no doubt. So we're gonna take care of this. That seems to have upset her. And yes, it is a her. But very little of her resembles a woman. But we're really not doing too much damage. I think it would be ill-advised to continue playing with this little damage. Really, I like the design of this enemy type. And for that, we get a large ember. Let's read it. Ember required for weapon ascension. A large, high-quality ember, handled by the blacksmiths of Astora. Just like the blacksmith we've met, actually. He is also from Astora. Andre is his name. So, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back. Using the homeward bone, I'm gonna go back and just upgrade my weapons because it's really quite dreadful. Now, luckily, because the game is so beautifully woven and designed, I'll carry on the thoughts in a second.
You are undead as well? Then we've no time to fraternize. I have my mission and you no doubt have yours. We must not let this curse overcome us.
Oh, hello. My guests have finally arrived. I will be departing with them shortly. So, I'm afraid I will be saying goodbye soon. It was a pleasure.
Hmm? What have we here? You look awfully raggedy. Times are grim. The least you can do is look sharp. Don't you dare meet my lady like that. You might scare her off for good.
Oh, hello. Miracles, I presume? Come again. The effectiveness of the teachings depend upon your faith.
Alright, let me just see. Do I have a talisman or do I not? I don't. Alright, so let me buy it off him. I should get this one, I think. It scales better with faith.
Come again.
And as I was saying before, the beauty of this game and how very nicely woven everything is, it allows you to quickly access different parts of the world. Like, I can go to the blacksmith really quickly if I wanted to, which of course I do. I'm not in the weight category I'd like to be in, so I think I'll swap it to a smaller shield just for now so I can walk faster. And we're back at the church. And now it's just a few more steps to the blacksmith. These enemies have a chance of dropping the upgrade material needed for the weapons. So there's no harm in fighting them, even if it wastes a few seconds of my time. I don't think we'll be finishing the sewers in this episode, but I'm pretty certain we will in the next one. So go down to the blacksmith and we're gonna upgrade.
Ah, why, that's a fine ember you have there. I could smith some mighty weapons with one of those. Why not lend it to me? Magnificent! You won't be disappointed. I can hardly wait to get started.
Alright, so we're gonna reinforce the longsword. One more time as well, since we can afford it. We can actually afford one more as well. But I'm not sure if it's worth it. Why not?
Don't get yourself killed. Neither of us want to see you go hollow.
Alright. And now we make our walk back to Firelink. And from Firelink we go back into the depths. Yeah, we should be far more powerful now. We're doing 130 damage, as opposed to I think it was 70 before now, so we nearly doubled our damage, which I think is adequate for this stage in the game. I hope you're enjoying this series, by the way, so far. You know, I'm enjoying this a lot. I've always wanted to do something along these lines for Dark Souls. And there are a few other games I too want to do similar things with. We'll just have to see. And they're gone. Alright, I'm just gonna rest here at the bonfire and attune my spell. Force. It's a simple spell, just pushes enemies back, which could be handy in certain scenarios. Alright, we're fighting these enemies for the 4th time now, I think. But you can see how much more damage we're doing, and it's wonderful. Back into the aqueduct. And we are back where we left off. So now we can see how much we've improved. Also, I'm sure you've noticed, but the blood that I have set in the game isn't red, as you normally would see in the game, and it's just my personal preference. I think it's as a rotting corpse, you know. Most of these enemies are rotting. I kind of assumed their blood to be more mild, more darker, less color to it. And I like this shade of green. It makes it look more disgusting, I guess. Don't know how to describe it. We're just progressing through this area. Yeah, that's a lot better damage. I think we were doing 20 last time. Alright, I suppose we can read that. Bloodstained patchwork, sack by the undead man-eating cook lurking in the depths. 2 eye holes have been haphazardly cut out. It is unexpectedly soft and comfortable to wear, but it is probably near meaningless in terms of defense. Yeah.
You. Yes, you. Here, over here. Please, you must help me. Thank you. I would have been at supper without you. Been eaten alive. I shudder to think. Thank you. Thank you dearly. I am Laurentius, or the Great Swamp. I will not forget my debt to you. Oh, hello there. I'm fine, thanks to you.
So that right there is a pyromancer. You can see the flame in his hand. Really quite useful that we freed him, helped him. Now we take this door down to the water. Really filthy looking water. And get a taste of whatever this is. It's quite tough. Here we get to see new enemy types, I would say. Yeah, the sewer is really filthy and very obviously not maintained. Which is a really nice vibe if you ask me. Yeah, this locked door. Oh, I love the sound of metal, stepping on metal. Here we have a really filthy and large looking rat. Let's get a closer look at it. At least we're safe here on this side of the bars. It's really quite a formidable enemy. It's got an axe to the eye. Really nasty looking thing. This great axe is a veritable mass of iron. Its weight sends foes flying, but makes it difficult to handle without inhuman strength. Any miss makes one very vulnerable, as each swing requires the full force of the body. Let's just have a look at how massive it is. Yeah, that's a big one. How much strength does it require? 32 to wield. That's impressive. I like it. Even the rats here try to ambush us. Key to the sewer chamber in the depths. In any community, a few bad apples are sure to exhibit insatiable greed. If they were turned undead and banished to the depths, would they reconsider their ways? Use this key to see for yourself. I think that's brilliant descriptive work. I really enjoy it. But yeah, turning undead, being cursed, would that make somebody repent and change their ways? It's an interesting concept. And there we have our bonfire. Someplace we can rest. I don't think they can get in, though I might be wrong. Ah, he can get in. I'm just gonna rest, because it puts everything back into its starting area. And I think I'm gonna level up endurance. I think that'd be smart. And I'll equip a heavier weapon, a shield, sorry. To retain my speed, my agility. So I believe now would be the best time to stop, because I don't think there would be a more reasonable place to end it. I don't want to end in the middle of the level. And this is the sewer level, which is quite filthy, quite confusing. It's described as a labyrinth in one of the key descriptions. Here it says in the bottom, the depths form a perilous flooded labyrinth. And yes, it can get really confusing, especially if you've never been here before. You can get turned around easily and get lost. There are, as we've seen with the slime and blobs, there are interesting enemy types, and there are more. Obviously, it's not just rats and humans. There are other scary things that occupy the sewers, and they should be feared. They are quite scary. Yeah. Hopefully we are closing in to the second bell that we're trying to ring. I mean, we are going quite down, but not quite yet into Blight Town. You know, this place is filthy, but it's not filled with blight. And we are gonna see eventually how things take a really dark turn, darker than it is now. I mean, we've seen that lady who was butchering some meat, and there are elements of cannibalism, as we've seen with the guy stuck in the barrel, saying how he was going to be consumed if we didn't rescue him. So we see the degenerating levels in this area. As we were going higher, you know, we went into a church, into some place that looks nice, prestigious, looks well maintained for the most part in this kind of world. And as we went lower into the Lower Undead Burg, you know, we've seen enemies with torches, almost pitchforks, but torches. We've seen people locked in many different forms. We've seen thieves, you know, bandits, and, you know, stray dogs that are probably consuming rotting corpses. And we've seen that pile of corpses set on fire, which is a really striking piece of scenery. And just all around that, I do enjoy this more than the things above, because it's more interesting, right? It's more disturbing. It gets you more curious than if you just see like a nice looking cathedral, right? It's not too interesting in and of itself. But yeah, as we venture down deeper, we're gonna have a lot to talk about and a lot to see. And I hope you're just as excited as I am for the next episodes. I will be going now, so thank you very much for watching, and I can't wait to continue on this series. So you take care of yourselves, and I'll see you soon.